Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined by Jack Weinberger and Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia for an NFL reaction show recording on Monday, May 19th. It should be coming out Tuesday morning. Ziggy apparently has a really fun fact that we're going to get to in just a second. But if you're enjoying this content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get up to 20,000 subscribers by the start of the regular season, which I think is in play. I think we can get there. It just takes, we're about 1,200 away, roughly.
Well, we can only get there if you click that subscribe button right now.
A couple big Steeler videos and we'll be on our way.
Yeah, we just need to talk a little bit about your boy Will Howard. Put out a Will Howard is thriving at Steelers rookie camp,
and then we're there.
So if anyone can subscribe, if you're enjoying the videos, please remember to do that for us. Of course, you can always check us out on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. We have videos coming out there, and we drop news about the show fairly regularly as well. And again, appreciate everyone who's been engaging with us. Feel free to drop comments here. We see all of them, so if there's something you want us to talk about, if there's a team you want us to talk about, drop it in the comment section, and we'll try and hit that on the Wednesday record. Today's show is going to be pretty fun. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL playoff seeding format that's being voted on by the league. There's the big Caleb Williams. Yeah, tomorrow. There was the big Caleb Williams news this past weekend about the story that came out in the book of him not wanting to go to Chicago, perhaps wanting to be a Minnesota Viking. Yeah, Matt LaFleur had some choice words about the Packers' schedule. Of course, the big news was Brock Purdy, and we'll get to that in just a second because Ziggy was flaunting a stat that he had to share with us right before the show, and we don't know what it is. So this buckle up. This could be anything.
So, Paul, do you know if there have been any major events in global news in the past couple of weeks?
Like the Pope?
Yeah, there was a new Pope.
What about the boat hit in the Brooklyn Bridge?
Oh, that was horrible. Jeez.
That's awful, right? How many people died, right?
That
was not the fun fact I was going to bring up, Jay.
Jeez.
Well, I'm just saying
it took a dark turn.
I think it's just a horrendous.
That's horrible.
Unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, but carry on.
Bring us back. Carry
on.
Since 1922.
Well, I don't know. Did people?
Yeah,
they did, right?
Yeah, no, they did. All right, bring us back.
We had a Pope elected. There have been 8 popes, including Leo XIV since then. And Leo XIV, as you know, is a Chicago Bears fan. He just recently got a big Chicago Bears jersey with his name on it. Of the previous 7 popes,
wait, he got
after
one?
They were elected. Yeah.
Like they handed him a jersey.
Traveled to the Vatican and gave him one. It says Leo and then XIV on it.
I did not see that. I missed that. All right.
It's on our community channel page if you want to take a look.
You posted this on the channel? Have you seen this?
No.
All right, hold on.
This tells you how much these guys pay attention.
I'm looking at this right now.
I feel like you somehow know things nobody else does.
Oh wow, yeah, 2 hours ago. Okay. This was 2 hours ago. This wasn't like I'm not constantly refreshing.
It was given to him today, so
is this enough to change the fortunes of the Chicago Bears? That's great.
Well,
Ziggy.
So I've got some news on that actually. So there've been 7 popes before him in the past 100 years. After they were elected pope, 6 of the 7 of them won a championship in their sport in their division of their favorite football teams.
As in soccer teams?
Football.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look.
So, I mean, there's been some speculation about what soccer team Leo XIV prefers, but we don't care about that on this show. This could be a sign that during his reign, the Chicago Bears, if they're keeping with the historical trend, that means that there's a 7 out of 8 chance that they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Interesting.
I mean, hey, football is football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, football is
that's
football.
what I'm saying.
Or it bodes really well.
Does he care about Peruvian soccer? Probably. Does he care about that more than the Bears? Probably. I mean, I would.
Or maybe Team USA at the World Cup is next year in America.
He's also a Novigrad. The Knicks just advanced.
Oh, it could be the Knicks. So, Ziggy, do you think this could be something where it applies across several sports? Like if he's a Knicks fan, the Knicks could win.
I think it applies to football. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, football's football.
I might lean closer to the United States winning the World Cup than I would the Chicago Bears. In fact, I would than the Chicago Bears.
But over here, that's soccer. Paul. That's not football over here. It's soccer.
What's more realistic? The U.S. wins the World Cup or the Bears win a Super Bowl?
The U.S.
Let us know in the comments. I'm actually not sure which is more realistic. I'd probably take the Bears winning the Super Bowl. At least they've done it before.
No, there's a better chance that
surely, all jokes aside, it has to be the Bears winning the Super Bowl.
There's a better chance that with Caleb playing quarterback, I could play goalie for the U.S. team, win the World Cup. The Bears win the Super Bowl.
Ziggy, do we have odds? Can we look at the odds right now? Do they have World Cup odds out? Because the Bears...
I don't think so.
No, they wouldn't. Not.
The Bears winning the Super... I bet you could...
Oh, no, there are World Cup odds. Yeah, they're out.
All right, what do you got?
USA is plus 5,000. Which I think, honestly, they're only there because
We're hosting. Or
we're
in US?
hosting. I think there's a lot of action there. The Bears are plus 3,500 to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so that actually was a close competition there. So yeah, so maybe this is good fortunes for the Bears.
I'd say there's a better chance the U.S. wins the World Cup.
I wonder what that card that Advance is handing him says.
If you're really into this, you can put a parlay on that and really cash big.
What's that parlay come
cash
out
big,
to?
I mean, get $0. Because imagine if both those things happen, you deserve to be a billionaire.
What if Ziggy, you play quarterback for the Bears the whole season, and I play goalie for the U.S. in the World Cup? What's the better chance?
It would have to be.
See, the thing is I can at least hand the ball off, I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just catch it.
They're going to be able to get the ball downfield and target you.
Yeah, you're right. They'd be taking shots. They'd be taking shots.
I think
from
if you
30
give
yards.
me enough time, I could have learned how to throw a screen pass.
And you have like
you
have like the Bears defense too.
Well, and everyone knows DeAndre Swift's the engine to that offense.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't
I think it would have to.
It wouldn't really matter what Ziggy did.
It would have to be Ziggy playing quarterback.
The creativity? I mean, can you imagine having Ziggy in a triple option offense? Unstoppable. Sure, he can't throw the ball, but Ziggy was a good runner.
Some Georgia Tech offense.
Ziggy lowers the shoulder.
I mean, me and Ziggy being in a triple option like Georgia Tech like offense would be good.
Well, again, we also said, remember Ziggy at the NFL draft? Him and Ashton Genty almost got down in Oklahoma drill. Like this guy can lower the shoulder and take a hit.
We have gotten comments.
You, me, producer Zach at fullback, Jack. I think that could be a college championship.
I think it could be. I mean, that could be pretty good. Imagine that triple option.
Totally disengaged at this point. They just want to hear us talk about football.
We go on the road. We go on the road to Clemson at night and silence them with our triple option.
The triple. Oh my gosh! Can you? I think all three of you would end up in the hospital. The score would be like 100, 195 to 0.
It'd be tough.
All right, let's hop into the show here. So the big news, as we said off the top of the weekend, was the Brock Purdy extension. 5 years, $265 million, $181 million in guaranteed money. We have a shared doc with for the group here that we have before shows, and Ziggy writes. You can tell who writes what. Ziggy ostensibly $165 million in the first 3 years.
I saw that. I'm like, what is that?
Jack looked at that note. So was like, all right, I'm out of here.
It's true. Actually, we got some reporting from Albert Breer about it.
I think what I'm getting at is using ostensibly was the word that threw Jack off there.
That's a normal word.
I've never heard that word in my life.
I think so. I usually just do the roughly sign. But anyway, regardless, about $165 million.
Those don't mean the same thing. Ostensibly means you're making it dubitable in a particular way, right? Whereas roughly means that you're asserting
is roughly the approximately the squiggle?
Yeah, I like the approximately.
Yeah, I like that sign.
I think that's a good sign.
I mean, okay, but the approximately sign does not imply dubious, and ostensibly does, because I didn't believe this, but it turns out it's real.
This show, we got some problems on this show. Anyway, here. So Purdy, I thought this was a little fun fact as well, Ziggy. $2.6 million is what he earned over his first 3 years. With this contract now, he'll be making $2.9 million per week, which is pretty, I mean, that's just unbelievable how much money these guys are making here. So I want to real quickly give you guys my take. Then you guys can build off of that and share your own takes
as well. Your takes
as
suck. I read it. Your takes
no, people probably hate my takes, but that's why, it's...
People usually hate my takes. Your take's the bad one.
Well, again, I'm just going to go through it. I like Purdy, okay? I'm a Brock Purdy fan. I love his story. Mr. Irrelevant. He comes in late in the season, saves the 49ers year. I was actually very upset that season as a Viking fan because that was the year that I thought the Vikings had a shot in the playoffs as well. So he comes in, saves the season, winds up tearing his UCL, right, in the NFC Championship game. That could have been a Super Bowl team for the 49ers. Didn't lose for its first 10 games or so, maybe longer. Next season, they lose the Super Bowl in overtime. So anyone who wants to get on Brock Purdy, say he's a bad quarterback, the guy's been very successful. There's no doubt about that with the 49ers. He was an overtime away from winning the Super Bowl. And who knows how different this take I have is. Who knows how different everyone's take is on Brock if he's a Super Bowl champion.
It's very different because you're the results matter guy.
The results do matter to a degree. And frankly, they couldn't score a touchdown on that drive in the Super Bowl. But again, I'm not focused on the one drive. I'm focused on the big picture with Brock Purdy here. Teammates love him. George Kittle, Fred Warner, you hear them talk about best quarterback in the league. All of them, they may not mean it, but they say Brock Purdy. They say how much they love the guy. This can all be true while at the same time saying he's not worth $53 million per year. And you look at the market value of quarterback, it places him right at the same mark, roughly, I would say, as Jared Goff and Tua Tagovailoa at $53 million. And whether you want to say he's better than Tua or Goff, I mean, that's subjective. I would say Goff's a little bit better than Purdy, but maybe you slide him above Tua Tagovailoa. What I think here is that this was bad business by the 49ers. Because if they let him play out this contract, and let's say it's a great season, all right, we're handing him the mega deal. That could happen. But I think the likely scenario is that, similar to the seasons Brock has had, where he's very good, and the team around him is probably more responsible for the success of the 49ers than Brock is himself, even though he has some strong moments. And in the event that guys get hurt, Brock, like last year, could not elevate the team to a higher level. We all agree on that, right? Brock Purdy did not perform like Josh Allen or Mahomes or Lamar with weaker teams in the past and elevate them. If I'm San Francisco, I'm then coming to him and saying, I can offer you $45 million a season, right? $8 million less than he's getting right now, even 42, whatever it winds up being, considerably less than what he got. Him. Well, I say to Brock, and you can go out and look, someone can give you a mega deal and report back to us, and then we can renegotiate here. I don't think any team is paying Brock Purdy $50+ million in the open market. I just don't. And I think any fan base...
You think the 49ers are the only team willing to offer him money?
I think the question I'll have for listeners is, strip your team of their quarterback right now. Would you want to pay Brock Purdy $50+ million?
What does Lawrence make?
Lawrence is making $55 million a year.
So Lawrence is making more than Purdy, right?
Yeah. So, but again, the point is
Trevor Lawrence has very different cash flows in this deal too. Like you can't just look at the annual per year number. Mm-hmm. I think the reason a lot of people are reacting to Brock Purdy's contract is he's getting paid most of that money early on into the deal. So this isn't one of those deals you see at other positions all the time where he's making like 20 or 30 a year. And then there's a huge explosion at the end in salary that's not guaranteed and will never get paid. You saw also Devontae Adams, right? Like He had those like $45 million a year salary numbers tacked on at the end. Trevor Lawrence isn't quite that. But if you look at how Trevor Lawrence is getting paid, like, yeah, it's $55 million a year. But actually, over the first 3 years of the deal, Trevor Lawrence is only getting paid about $70 million. Brock Purdy over the first 3 years is getting paid $165. So it's not quite at Dak Prescott level. Clearly, everyone around the league is laughing at the Dak Prescott deal because neither Josh Allen nor Brock Purdy got close to that. Mm-hmm. But the money's coming very early on, and the huge injury guarantees are vesting very early too. So he's getting paid. This is a much bigger deal than the Trevor Lawrence contract. It's similar to the Jared Goff one. It's bigger than the Tua one. It's bigger than Jordan Love. And it's substantially less than Josh Allen because Josh Allen got basically all of it fully guaranteed at the beginning.
But look at these deals we're talking about right now. The Dolphins with Tua, the Jaguars with Lawrence. These are deals, to me, that those teams right now are not particularly happy with. And that's what I'm saying. If you're a fan of a team, are you happy handing Brock Purdy $50+ million? I think
Brock
personally,
Purdy's going to, if you don't pay him right now, he is going to hold out.
He'll hold out.
So the question for the 49ers is, do you want to start a total rebuild or not? Do you want to trade Nick Bosa? Do you want to trade Trent Williams? Do you want to move off Fred Warner? Try and move off Brandon Ayuk? Like, you could move Christian McCaffrey. You could blow the entire team up, or you could try and use those players. You've got 1 or 2 more years where you might be able to push for a Super Bowl.
That's where it gets interesting. Go ahead,
you can't look at it as taking Brock Purdy off this team and putting it on your team. It's, would you swap your team situation for the 49ers and agree to go for a Super Bowl for 2 more years? I'll tell you what, the Jaguars are doing that. The Dolphins are doing that.
And they're failing magnificently.
Well, no, they would swap their organizations, give them all the circumstances. They'd much rather have the chances the 49ers have next year than their own chances. They're in a different situation.
I've always been the type of person who has said this team around Brock Purdy has made him who he is when it was Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, and these guys were superstars. And I've always been on that side of the ball. However, they did complement each other. I think Purdy's
he's very good.
Like, he's a very good quarterback. And in today's NFL, quarterback money is expensive. And it's hard to find a quarterback that you like. And the Niners have that. A guy who's 25 years old, who's been to a Super Bowl, NFC Championship game. Like, Tua wasn't there. Lawrence wasn't there. Brock Purdy's been there. And you can say that, yeah, it's his team, it's his team.
He's good with that team.
Yes, like Brock Purdy was really solid and earned what he has made. Like, if I'm San Francisco, I do like this deal. But I mean, why, like,
No, I understand. I'm not trying to make it sound like I don't hate Brock Purdy. I think he's a good
saved them
quarterback.
from a total rebuild years ago. I mean, this team has traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance and failed.
Yeah, they weren't how.
He
Jimmy
saved
Garoppolo.
the jobs of every single person.
Yeah,
he did.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
There's definitely
failed.
a degree of reward in this contract.
Yeah, Brock Purdy deserves every penny of what he's got.
But do you think?
And if you're going to start a rebuild,
How much? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
why not now? You have Brock Purdy, who's younger than us, for the long-term future. And I know these guys are old in San Fran, right? But bring in a new team, build around Brock, a good quarterback.
I don't think you can build around Brock. I don't think
So that's where we disagree. I
don't think he's a building. I think he's a guy that you insert.
But you're willing to take a risk with being in quarterback purgatory forever?
Well, what I think is
Like
going to happen. The question I'd say is, do you think that Sam Darnold is a suitable replacement for Brock Purdy? How much better are the 49ers with Purdy than Sam Darnold?
I think if you give Sam Darnold arguably the worst defense in the entire NFL.
We're not talking about the defense. On offense, he's a quarterback.
No, but I'm saying, look, if you put Sam Darnold in the 49ers last year, they're substantially worse. Brock Purdy, you say he didn't elevate the team. You want him to win 13 or 14 games of the worst defense in the NFL.
I'm thinking about when
the
he
most
played
players on IR.
I'm thinking about him playing
the lowest yards after catch in the entire
Yeah,
NFL.
Purdy's a better quarterback than Darnold.
I think it's close. I think there's a world where Sam Darnold does just as well as
Brock Purdy
with the 49ers.
has played at a high level for many years since he entered the league.
Yeah, he's been a
had
top-notch quarterback.
Sam Darnold had one good season when he had all the great weapons like Purdy had. I think if you put Brock Purdy on the teams that Sam Darnold was on with the Jets, I don't think that Brock Purdy's taking them any further than Sam Darnold is.
It's funny.
Yeah,
that's the argument I've
when
always
you put a decent quarterback in San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo was nowhere near the level Brock Purdy's been.
Brock Purdy's very good. I think Sam Darnold is also better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
When you have a quarterback who's shown he's more than capable in today's NFL, instead of being stuck in purgatory and hell for years, you pay him.
Why? The Vikings did that exact same thing with Sam Darnold this year. Do you think that was a mistake?
And where do they go?
Well, we're going to find out.
They went nowhere. Now it's McCarthy. He's rolling a dice.
Well, we're saying like Sam Darnold was Darnold last year was better than Purdy. Essentially, I would say maybe the beginning of Purdy was awesome as well. He was just as good as Purdy's been with the 49ers last year.
Purdy's 2 years younger and has been to 2 NFC championships.
Come on.
And he's been to 2 NFC championship games.
I also think that the 49ers team was better.
If we compare Purdy and Darnold, that's just stupid.
But I think that's the comparison. I think it's a closer comparison between Purdy and Darnold than it is Purdy and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the guys who actually should be getting paid $50+ million.
Purdy has accolades. Darnold doesn't.
He hasn't won. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He's been there, but
he has accolades.
I think last year when shit hit the fan in San Francisco, I'm sorry. Again, I like Brock Purdy. I know I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here, but I'm just saying I don't think he's worth that big of a deal, and I didn't like the.
What's the alternative?
You're saying you'd offer him what 45 a year?
I think he's closer to like a 40. I think he's closer to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's making 33 million.
Where would you draw the line?
What's the alternative?
For Brock Purdy?
I think Brock Purdy's worth about $40 million a year, maybe.
What's the alternative?
I think that I get that $10 million a year sounds like a lot of money. That's what, 3% of the salary cap? I am not willing to endure the volatility that involves my franchise quarterback walking away to spend $10 million a year so I can get what? Christian Kirk in the building?
I don't think.
What are you getting with that?
It's not just that. It's not just that.
What's the alternative?
It's that I don't think Brock Purdy will win a Super Bowl with the 49ers.
Whoever they bring in next probably wouldn't either.
See, rolling a dice on like draft picks for year after year after year. Like, what's the alternative?
I think what San Francisco should have done.
Like, this quarterback's 25 and he's been to a Super Bowl.
Again, I think he's good, but I think
why not pay the guy
in 4 years?
Of course, you need a good team to get there.
It's the end of. I know, but I'm saying at the end of 2028, what I think is going to happen, and here's the catch here: everybody who's arguing for Brock Purdy is going to be right at the end of this season. Because the 49ers schedule is a cupcake. It's the AFC South. It's the NFC South. And this is why now, if I were to say why I like the deal, I think Brock is good with the 49ers. Like I do acknowledge that. This year, they're going to run through their schedule. They're going to have a very good record.
They're going from the hardest to arguably the easiest.
The 49ers are going to be very, very good next year. And everyone's going to come out and they're going to say, Purdy deal, it's so worth it. But I think what's likely to happen, they'll lose to the Lions or the Eagles in the NFC divisional round. Then we're going to see in 3 years from now, or 4 years from now, 2028, at the end of that season, the 49ers are going to be in a situation where they've sort of been in purgatory for a while with Brock because he's good, but he's not good enough. And the team's getting older, and there's probably going to be guys getting hurt. Christian McCaffrey is what did I write here? 28 going on 50. Like, these guys are very injury prone in San Francisco, and I think that it's going to be a purgatory run for them with this massive contract.
And it wouldn't be without him.
I think the best way to win right now in the NFL, unless you have that supernova quarterback like the Josh Allens and the Mahomes, is to have the rookie or the young quarterback on that rookie deal and build the team up around them. That's why we're not seeing the teams like Jalen Hurts has the supernova team around him. I know that they also have him on that massive deal now, but most of these teams in the league that
Jalen Hurts is also a very good quarterback.
Yeah, it'll hurt. Yeah,
I mean, I'd rather pay Brock Purdy than build around JJ McCarthy or Will Howard.
I think
let's not equate JJ McCarthy and Will Howard.
Well, that's what we're saying here. JJ and Howard's the same thing. They're both national champs.
I think over the next 3 to 5 years, the Vikings have a better chance to win the Super Bowl than the 49ers do.
I think that's probably true. I think if the
agree with
49ers get rid of Brock Purdy, they won't be Super Bowl contenders for the next 5 years.
Okay, so then what? Hear me out. So JJ McCarthy goes to Super Bowl, loses. Next year goes to an NFC Championship game, loses. The Vikings.
I'll say get rid of him.
Yes. Why would you why?
Well, it depends what the offer is. Would I offer JJ 55?
I guarantee you'd be like, yeah, we're keeping this guy.
I'm not necessarily saying get rid of Brock. Again, that's not what I said. I said I would offer less money. All I'm saying is
you would sit through a protracted holdout and not have a quarterback.
But the unfortunate thing is that I don't think that the NFL QB market right now is like that.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the smart teams are going to stop acting dumb like these other teams are.
I think in order to win, you might have to act like that.
I just don't. I don't see it working for other people. If McCarthy, we're giving mediocre quarterbacks mega deals
on Minnesota, everyone's going to say, "Oh, I mean, he has JJ and Addison. The team is great."
You need a great team.
Yes. If he goes to Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game, every Vikings fan on planet Earth, when he's 25 years old, will want him for whatever he's being paid for.
And we might wind up regretting that then. Because I would be like that. Yes, the 49ers fans say the 49ers fans are out here saying he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. I was reading 49ers pages where they said it goes Brock or Herbert or Stroud for that 5th spot.
But why take your chances with some draft picks as opposed to somebody who's young who's been to a Super Bowl?
Because I don't think $1 million to spend on other players.
Because I think they can build up the team, and if Kyle Shanahan's the boy genius that everyone says he is, I think that he can plug someone into their system with a great team around, and they have a better chance to win. Because I don't think Brock Purdy is that much better than a quarterback that they can go out and find reasonably quickly. That would be the reason. But I do like Brock, and I think he's good for this team. I just don't think he is substantially better in the long run than other guys that can go out.
Your team has, you literally, unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen.
This is why it's a difficult conversation, because there's only a handful of these guys.
You have to have a decent team. Purdy's been criticized, it's his team. But every team who's won a Super Bowl is a good team.
No, and you're totally right about that. You are 100% right. I just think that it's a lot of money. I think what we're going to see this contract looking bad a few years from now. That's when I think 49ers fans, they'll probably be
the
okay.
49ers are signing this deal for the next 2 years, and they'll take what they have.
Yes, that's what this deal is. They're trying to win while they still have Williams and McCaffrey and Bosa playing at a high level. And if they stay healthy, this is the whole conundrum for it. If they stay healthy, they're going to be very good. And then
just say one last thing about this deal. I've seen lots of people freaking out that Brock Purdy has gotten a no trade clause.
Oh yeah.
Thing I'll say this much. Every major quarterback deal has a no trade clause in it, implicitly or explicitly. There's no team in the NFL that is going to trade for a quarterback making this kind of money that doesn't want to be there. Right? Whether you've got a no trade clause or not, if Brock Purdy doesn't want to play on your team, would you ever take him on for this kind of money?
Oh,
absolutely not.
Yeah, Purdy.
So the no trade clause is nice. It's Jimmy Garoppolo got a similar kind of no trade clause. That's neat. But every single quarterback making this kind of money functionally has a no trade clause. So you can just sort of ignore that. It's window dressing.
I mean, the dude's got a 70% completion percentage and has thrown 70 touchdowns.
He's very good. Brock Purdy's a good quarterback.
He's 23-10.
He's a good quarterback. And I know I'm not trying to rip on Brock Purdy because I think his story's great. I think he's been awesome with San Francisco. Like you said, he saved the franchise.
He's better than Mahomes.
Guys love him. Like, and that's all important. Being a leader, the way he's one of the best leaders in the locker room of most quarterbacks in the league, I would say, the way people talk about him. So I don't want to be up here saying like, no way in hell does Brock deserve this. I'm just saying I think that in the long run, he's not on that level of guys that I would pay that much money. I wouldn't give it to Tua. I wouldn't give it, like in hindsight, you probably wouldn't give it to Lawrence right now. People are questioning Jordan Love. Like, yeah. So I think the quarterback market's the hardest question for me to come up with my answer to in football right now.
I mean, yeah, like what if there's some...
It's really hard.
What if the Niners end up going a different route and they draft somebody out of college, who knows? And he does the same thing Purdy ends up doing, and he wants to get paid. Do you pay him, or do you like this is a cycle? That's why I just think you pay the guy you have who's decent enough.
But there can be upgrades. Like Alex Smith was great with the 49ers or the Chiefs, and they drafted Mahomes.
I think that's super tough though.
Oh, it is. It's lightning striking when you get these all-time quarterbacks. And I'm not saying they necessarily need an all-time guy, but I just think with the way that their coaching staff has operated in the past, you give them a loaded roster, and Shanahan could make things work. So again, though, let us know in the comment section what you think. And the whole quarterback deal, I flip-flop a lot on how I feel about the quarterback situation, but as of right now, I feel we'll have to revisit in a couple of years. That's the only way we're going to see this, is in a couple of years how Purdy's doing. But congratulations to Brock. Like he deserves it. I'm happy for him. And we'll see.
Talking about teams that have a quarterback on a mega deal their team might regret. Let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, so we want to throw this in here because Jack.
This is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Jack loves his George Pickens, and maybe you could say you have a little bit of you that's cheering on the Cowboys at some parts this season.
Part of me will be
a little bit, and for a Steelers fan to say that's a lot. Although the Steeler Cowboy rivalry, it's not.
I mean,
not what it used.
We
to be.
love George Pickens.
Did you? No. You?
Steeler Nation loves George Pickens.
That's just not true.
Yes, it is.
I think Steeler Nation really didn't like him.
No. We love George Pickens.
I saw the talk on the internet. Steeler Nation was thrilled that George Pickens was gone.
No, they weren't. They're saying it. They weren't.
CeeDee Lamb. So
Jack's
gonna love this quote. CeeDee Lamb came out and he said regarding George Pickens, "We both ones. It ain't no A, B, none of that. It's one. You look over there, you see one. You look over here, you see another one. So do what you got to do with that."
I mean, he's right.
I thought they were going to be 1C and 1D personal.
They're unguardable.
Well, Jack, you're anticipating
not even a chuckle. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good, Ziggy. So you're anticipating a huge year for them.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
Dallas.
I watched that video. Did you not feel a little bit like CeeDee Lamb was being held hostage? Like I have to say, like if I say it's going to be if I say we have to earn our role or whatever, like George Pickens is just going to lose it and probably start strangling me. So I better say we're all equal, even though I'm a way better player than he could ever dream of being.
I think it's a great situation for George Pickens.
I also believe that Dak Prescott is being wildly underrated and criticized.
I agree with no doubt about it.
Dak Prescott's really good. Well, CeeDee Lamb's like the best ever. The numbers that those two put up, and we've always said, my goodness, if Dallas had another capable wide receiver, and now they do have another pretty much number one receiver.
Got Tyler Booker.
They might not have 1A, 1B, but they might have AB lining up next to CeeDee Lamb. That's all I'm saying.
They have 1A, 1A.
No, they shore up the offensive line a little bit in the draft,
but
right?
As good as Dak Prescott has been, now this is Dak Prescott's most vicious receiving core ever.
No, it's
going to be scary hours.
Dak Prescott, I get that he's older. I get that he's coming off a bad season. I firmly expect this to be like 2021, where coming off that like injury year in 2020, he lit up the league. Had one of the best quarterbacks. He had the best season of his whole career. I'm expecting 35 plus touchdowns out of him next year.
Yeah, I
think he's going to have a great year.
That dude's my fantasy QB. Take him in the first round.
The situation in Dallas as well, when you're looking at the rest of that division, because I don't think they're good enough to win the Super Bowl this year. I really don't. But I do think that having the Eagles and Commanders in their division is having them be overlooked a bit. Because obviously the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. They got a little weaker this offseason.
Dallas is better than the Commanders.
And then the Commanders are coming off, the Jaden Daniels high, the NFC Championship game. All the talk and all the focus is on those two teams. And of course, everyone loves, and that's crazy because we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys here. Everyone loves to hate on them. But I really do think you're right, Jack, that given this extra weapon here, it's hard in the NFL. I watched the Vikings play with, and you've seen the Steelers, when you don't have a number 2. You really need 3 receivers now in your offense to function at a super high level, unless you have a superstar at quarterback. And Dak's been able to do that with a lack of weapons. Brandon Cooks has been the number 2, and no shade on Brandon Cooks, but he's old.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So you give him this George Pickens weapons here. I think that they can contend for the NFC East, and I don't think they'll win it. But if you get the Cowboys in the playoffs and they're a wild card team, they have a history of choking, but they should be able to score a lot this year.
I mean, Dallas,
they're getting Trayvon Diggs back too. I feel like no one's
mentioning that.
Yeah, Dallas has been really good, at least in the regular season, for years and years and years.
12 wins 3 years in a row.
Yeah, with Dak Prescott thrown to CeeDee Lamb. And that's what I feel like has been it. And now you have another guy across the field. I think they're going to be amazing.
Plus 700 to win the division just sounds crazy to me. I get that it's hard. I get that this Eagles team is good, but they're plus 700 and the Commanders are like plus 220. I don't think the Commanders, I get that they were much better last year, but Dak Prescott is a proven quarterback in the NFL. Compare the Commanders' weapons to the Cowboys' weapons. Compare the Cowboys' defense. I think it's better than the Commanders' defense. The Dak Prescott has proven more. He's been better longer than Jaden Daniels has been. And we've seen sometimes these rookie quarterbacks you get really excited about, they don't take that huge step forward in year 2. I think Jaden Daniels is a very good player, but expect him to be dramatically better than last year. I think it's early to say that.
I mean, can't you see?
I like the Cowboys to come second in this division. That's probably what'll be in my preseason predictions.
Wow. Okay. Can't you see the Commanders potentially being like a Texans with Stroud?
Oh, well, I think I put out in the reel where I said that. Yeah. Where I said
I very similar type of deal.
But they do have that sky high potential as well.
They did, but so did the Texans.
Yeah, no. But I think when you look back on the season, I think this is what I said in the reel that we put out is they are closer probably to a 10 or 11 win team than they are a 13 win team that we're talking about. Like I think next year 10-7 is probably closer for what the Commanders will be, who got hot at the right time. Like they easily could have lost to the Buccaneers in the first round, and it's similar to what we just said about Brock Purdy if he had won the Super Bowl. Very different conversation. Now, the thing is, they didn't lose, and then they beat the Lions, but they got waxed by Philly. This is a good Washington team that has a lot of potential with a young quarterback, and what I like about Washington is that they sensed that they had an opportunity here, and they went out and made a bunch of big moves this offseason.
Washington's good, but if you tell me who would you rather have in the next 2 years to win a Super Bowl between Dak Prescott or Jaden Daniels, I'm going Dak Prescott still.
I mean,
are you?
Because
I don't think most people are doing
last year. In the middle of that magical season, when Dallas is having one of their worst seasons in forever, Cooper Rush stepped up and got it done. And you're telling me they couldn't possibly beat him this year, which is what those odds are saying?
So you would rather have Dak Prescott than Jaden Daniels for the next 2 years to win the Super Bowl?
Within the current situation is what I'm saying.
Well, let me ask you, if you're building a team, and Dak, I say you get you're on the clock, Jack. You're drafting your quarterback. Are you taking Dak or Jaden Daniels to build your team around for the next 2 years?
For the next 2 years, I'm taking Dak still.
Really? Yeah. I feel like most people will vehemently disagree with you.
I mean, I've seen people saying that Dak. I mean, I watched some Madden streamers, and these guys always think they know football. Dak Prescott people were saying. I've seen people regularly say Dak Prescott's not going to be a top 10 quarterback next year. He's a bum. He's totally washed up. We heard exactly the same things about Dak coming off. He had a few great seasons, a bad injury season, and everyone thought he was done. And he rattled off some of the best seasons of his career. 2023 was great. 2024, he was bad due to injury. I firmly expect Dak Prescott, I think, has always been an overhated quarterback because he plays for the Cowboys and hasn't won a championship. And let's not forget, if he gets hurt, it's not Cooper Rush anymore. It's Joe Milton III. Coming in,
the laser arm,
he'll be
firing. Yeah, they might win the
amazing too.
George Pickens offense.
Yeah, that would be unbelievable.
Well, wait, let me ask you guys before we move on here. Let me just say yes or no here. I'm just going to run down the NFC
for next year.
Yeah, for next year, Dak versus this guy, Purdy.
Dak.
Kyler.
Dak.
Darnold. I'm assuming you take Dak. Stafford.
That's a real.
It's very close. If they're both healthy, Stafford.
You got to take Stafford. I think Dak will stay.
Stafford might get hurt.
I'm skipping the Saints. I'm skipping the Panthers. I'm skipping the Falcons. Baker.
Dak.
I can go Dak.
Caleb.
Dak.
Jordan Love.
It's close.
Probably Dak.
Next year, I think Dak will probably have a better season.
Yeah, probably Dak.
Skipping JJ, Jared Goff,
Dak.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
We're skipping Russ. No, sorry about your boy. And
It's not my boy anymore.
And Jane Daniels.
Dak.
So you guys have him
be one of the 3 best quarterbacks.
you guys have him 3.
I think he's probably top 4 quarterback of the NFC. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I guess you guys had him there. What?
And now with CD and Pickens.
Was that only Hurts and Goff?
Yeah, that's like.
I'm sorry, Stafford.
See being better than him, but I think he will have the second best season in the NFC.
See, I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, but I think I'd have him behind Hurts, Daniels, Goff. I might even have him behind Stafford. I probably put him closer to that like 6 or 7 range than 3. I might even take
how good he is in a vacuum with the offense around him. That could be good enough.
I might take Baker. I might even take Baker over him for next. Like Baker's been very good, but Dak has that ceiling.
Dak in the current situation
that changes
who he has. Mm-hmm. I don't know who I'd take over him.
Let us know where you guys think Dak Prescott ranks among NFC quarterbacks.
Does this tell you something about our show and its fan base? We're going to be out here saying the Cowboys are an underrated sleeper, one of the better teams in the NFL. And that breakout's going to get like 30 views. Like whenever we make videos about popular teams, they never do well. It's always our videos like the Texans and the Jaguars and the Packers. Like teams of smaller fan bases.
Well, I mean, the Packers are a pretty popular team here. But no, you're right. Like
not the Cowboys.
Like we put out a video. We put out videos that are just. I think we have a great take on like the 49ers. It'll be like the 49ers will have this huge thing on Brock Purdy, and they'll get no views.
Like a 25.
Or the Giants. Views. Yeah, Jack has his crazy take on the Giants being great, no views. That's why we stick to the Green Bay Packers, and that's what we're going to move on to for the next segment. The Packers. Matt LaFleur came out in an interview with Larry McCarron of Packers.com and a separate interview, Chris Sims of NBC Sports. He said, "It's interesting having the short week in week 2 after we play Washington, followed up by the week 5 bye. We'll have to adjust to it." Sort of said the exact same thing to Chris Sims then about how it's interesting, that was his word, that Green Bay is going to have that mini bye early in the season and then just a couple weeks later actually have their bye before a 13-game stretch to close the year. And I understand why he's upset because injuries were a key component of the Packers season last year and started with Jordan Love and the groin. But then we saw the receiver room get dinged up. We saw some defensive injuries. That was a huge impact on their Super Bowl chances as they came into the year. We all remember this time last season. We're talking about the Packers as one of those top 5 contenders to win the Super Bowl if things go right. And unfortunately for them, things went wrong. So I can see where Matt LaFleur is coming from saying, hey, like schedule makers, like what the hell's going on here? We got one of the toughest schedules in the league already. We're going to have to go to, we're hosting Baltimore. We're hosting Philly. We're going to Detroit later in the year. We're going to Denver, a tough place to play, in Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. These are a lot of tough games that are all going to be part of a 13-game stretch with no breaks in between. So do you guys agree with LaFleur that the Packers got screwed? Because I don't mind it personally.
Oh, I mean, go ahead, Ziggy, you go first.
I was saying it's a tough schedule. There's no doubt about it. But if you look at the numbers, people way overrate things like rest differential and when your bye is and so on. Obviously, if players get injured, that sort of stuff can matter, and players always get injured. But ultimately, what matters about your final record at the end of the season isn't how many primetime games you had or when your bye was or when you had more or less rest. It matters, are you better than the other team at playing football? And those kinds of things, maybe if you've got a really rough schedule, you'll win or lose maybe 1 or 2 games that you should or shouldn't have. I think 1 is a fair number for that. You drop a game you shouldn't have, you win a game maybe you shouldn't have. That sort of stuff rarely defines a season. Certainly, once you're in the playoffs, that stuff doesn't matter at all. The standard for Green Bay this year is to go to the playoffs and win in the playoffs.
Well, you said it's to go to the NFC Championship game.
That's what I think. But regardless, everybody agrees the Packers should be winning a playoff game this year. That has to be the goal.
Yes. Well,
if they don't win a playoff game next year, that's disappointing for them.
That is exactly what I argued. I said the expectation is to win a playoff game.
Everyone can agree on that.
Okay. Yes.
I think it should be more. Everyone can agree on that. And you should, whatever your schedule is, if you're a good team, you'll go to the playoffs and win a game. And if you're not, you probably won't.
Fair.
Maybe an easy division or an easy schedule can sneak you into the playoffs, but we've seen what happens to those teams. They do not go on runs. They do not win games. They get obliterated at home.
Just as much as the early season breaks that they have, we're talking about that 13-game stretch. The Packers closed the year with 5 of their final 8 on the road. And that's tough.
I mean,
as opposed to what 4 of their final 8 would be even.
Well, I'm saying
They have one extra road game.
I'm saying they have the early buys.
So 5-3 or 4.
They have the early buys on a lot of home games, and then closing the season, they have at the Giants, at the Lions, at the Broncos, at the Bears, at the Vikings, and their home games are Vikings, Bears, and Ravens. I think that's a tough end to the year. Yes, 5 games.
But the thing is like, so I get that momentum might be a thing or whatever, but ultimately you've won as many games as you're going to win. You can mix it up and change where the wins and losses are sprinkled, but they're either going to win the game or they're not.
Sure,
I just don't think going on the road multiple weeks in a row. I get that it's difficult on the players.
Oh, you playing the NFL? You playing the NFL, Ziggy? I think it's hard.
Oh, pin me with their airplane. I'll fly to China and back every week.
Wins. Show me the evidence.
I think that at the end of the year in December, when they're going to Denver, then to Chicago, then they're hosting the Ravens, and they're going to Minnesota. You're not sleeping in your bed. Oh, that's actually not so bad.
How about you beat the Giants, the Broncos, and the Bears?
That's actually not so bad. They're going.
Quote, you're not sleeping in your own bed.
Wait, listen.
Make what they are making, and then you tell me.
Listen to this. They're going from. Let's just think about how much travel it is from Green Bay to Detroit, Detroit back to Green Bay to Denver. That's a little bit of a trip. Denver to Chicago, then Chicago to Green Bay to Minnesota. So yes, it's a lot of road games, but they can go around.
You'd go to China and back every day for
not every day. Not every day. That would be
every
insane. Week. I don't think Ziggy. Would you go to China every single week?
You give me $55 million a year. Yes.
When $55 million a year.
Well, $55 million a year.
I need some of that $55 million to have comfortable travel.
Give me what these guys are making. I'd fly anywhere.
How long is the trip to China?
It's a long flight to China.
It doesn't matter.
Let's see. Go ahead, Ziggy. Continue your point.
No, all I was gonna say was I'm not giving the argument that like they're paid enough and they should deal with it. I just don't think there's a lot of evidence that this stuff. If people act like this stuff has a huge impact on winning, there's not a lot of evidence that's true.
It looks like a trip to Shanghai would be a 19-hour trip.
Yeah,
for $55 million.
I do that for every Sunday.
Well, you got to come back. You're losing 2 days a week.
I would do that. I do that 16 Sundays a year for $55 million.
So you're losing over 100 days. You're losing 104 days out of your year.
I do it 1 year. I retire. With what they're making,
how much do you think one of your days is worth? Like if I can give you the amount of money to give up a day right now,
priceless.
Really?
Like from my life?
So like I tell you like you're going to go to sleep and you're going to wake up in 2 days rather than 1 day.
I mean, I think 102.
So I will come in. I knock on your door and say, I will give you $150,000 to lose just 1 day of your life. Would you take it?
See, I think that's a pretty poor way to.
But if you're making $55 million a year, each day you're making $150,000.
Dude,
listen. Again, there's.
What I'm saying,
I'm just arguing that 104 days a year, because there's 52 weeks, right? 104 days, if it's 2 days of traveling, that's a lot of days to lose.
Whatever. I'm saying this. When you're making FU money like these guys are,
that's $15 million.
Fly around the damn country and play a football game, and then don't complain about it.
Yeah, hey, look, I'm with you here. I'm just pointing out that
they're gonna die either way. Who cares if you lose a few days?
I also am saying too, I can back Matt LaFleur in the sense that my Steelers got screwed last year with the schedule of playing.
Oh, here we go.
Like,
okay,
no.
So now it matters.
We actually got screwed because we played Philly, Baltimore, and KC in the span of 10 days. That's a screw job.
Who cares? Win your games of football or don't. It's not like the games are at the Steelers are a great example of this. So those games are at different times. Are they suddenly a good team?
Going on the road to Baltimore, then coming to host Kansas City days later, going on the road to Philly in 10 days, yes, that's a screw job. 1,000%.
So the Steelers, they were 10-7 last year?
Yeah, that screwed us.
Say you win 11 games. How do you think the playoffs go on the road in Buffalo?
I think you just weren't good. I just think you weren't a good team.
Do we get the 6th seed then?
Where does that take you?
Didn't we only get the 6th seed then?
What do you mean? If you're scheduled, I don't think you're winning any of those games, Jack.
No, you're not winning in the playoffs.
Oh no, we got this. What the 7th loss to Baltimore? We could.
No, you were. Yeah, you were.
You right, we were the 7th loss to Baltimore.
Baltimore hosted Buffalo, right? And that's why.
Oh no, Baltimore. We were the 6. So we've been the 5. We would have beaten Houston.
Baltimore's a 3. So, but did Buffalo host that game when Andrews dropped the ball?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it would have been the 5. We would have beaten Houston. You know what
I
a
don't think it
difference?
makes a major
There's a
difference the
much
outcome
better
of your
chance of us
season.
beating Houston than Baltimore on the road.
Agreed.
Do you know what a huge difference that made, having Philly, the Chiefs, and Baltimore in the span of 10 days down the year? Screw job.
I don't think you were beating any of those teams regardless.
But Jack's right. Jack is right. That is a very tough 3 games in 10
Better
days.
chance to beat Houston than
We're
Baltimore.
talking, and we're talking about the Steelers too. We're not talking about the team like the Vikings that's tough, can built to go on the road, win these games, leadership.
You're not about to go to the playoffs. But there's a better chance we win in Houston than Baltimore. Houston, we get a home game. Baltimore's not.
Ziggy, you think the Vikings are going to beat the Steelers in Ireland? I actually think you got screwed playing. Oh, did you hear about this, Ziggy? The Steelers chose.
This show is absolute chaos.
The Steelers chose to play the Viking. Is this true? They chose.
This is what I've heard.
The rumor that we're hearing is that the Steelers chose to play the Vikings in Ireland instead of the Packers because they'd rather play Green Bay, the tougher opponent, in their building in Pittsburgh. And I told Jack that was the biggest mistake the Steelers have ever made. Not ever. That's the biggest mistake they could have made because we're unbeatable overseas. And we would have lost in Pittsburgh. So you could have guaranteed the Viking win and then roll the dice on the Packers in Ireland. Who knows what happens? But now you've guaranteed a loss in Ireland and you have to play the Packers.
But now
at
we
home.
guaranteed beating the Packers.
I hope you're right.
How mad Matt LaFleur would be if they had to play the Steelers in Ireland on top of the schedule.
That would have been really... Yeah,
That's the rumor.
Well, maybe this actually could make sense here, this rumor. Tying it all back together now. Because the Vikings-Steeler game is week 5, correct? Or is that Vikings-Browns?
It's one of those international games.
Hold on. What week is
Oh,
this?
good, Ziggy. Good.
Yeah, thank you.
What do you want from me?
Thank you for that
No, I
helpful
mean, we have international teams week 4 and week 5. I'm pretty sure it's Steelers first, then Browns second.
But yeah, that is true. But because I was thinking it could have been, if the Packers had the week 5 bye, it could have been because they were originally scheduled to play the Steelers there.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Something like that. Yeah, I just think that was a massive
I have
mistake.
Steel City connections. I've heard. I don't reveal my sources, but I've heard.
Yeah,
this.
you can't reveal your
And I also heard we're getting that Saints receiver.
Oh, Olave,
yes.
Olave. So let's tally it up here at the end. I have 2 questions for you. Just give me a yes or no. Were the Packers screwed with their schedule?
Yes.
And okay, third question: should they be complaining about it?
No.
Sure, why not?
Would you take $55 million a year if you had to go to China, traveling 2 days per week?
Let us know in the comments what you think. I'd do it for at least a year.
Yeah, you have 55 million.
For
Think
one,
about how many days of your life that's buying
For
back.
one year-
No.
I do it for 2 years, 110 mil.
For 1 year, I do it, but I think that's disingenuous to the game of these NFL guys are playing. We're talking about guys who are playing like I wouldn't do it for 10
But
years.
They like their jobs. Actually, they probably hate their jobs. You know what? I'll take it.
No,
sure.
but they love playing football.
Would you do it for 10 years?
They like playing football.
55
I
million a
also
year for
suffer
10 years?
traumatic brain injury because that matters a lot.
Let's say no in this situation.
I'd pull
I'll
a-
do it for 10 years
I'd
because then
pull
I get
a-
the rest of my life.
I'd pull an Andrew Luck. Make my
Gotcha.
money early and call it.
You would have like 500 million. You'd have $550 million.
I do 2 years, 110 mil. I'll be
Take
28
half of it for taxes. More than I'd have 2.
You're losing Saturday and Sunday.
for 2 years.
No Saturday or Sunday for
2
let's say
years.
10 years.
But I wouldn't do it for 10 years. I don't think. That's
so
different
there is a limit.
than flying around America is different than China.
That's true.
Flying
You
around
said-
America,
you said
I
China.
think I'd go anywhere.
You said China.
I would go anywhere
Yeah,
around
America.
America for
Well,
what
you
they
could
do.
have some fun anywhere. Yeah, but China's different.
You
Okay.
can even fly to PNC Park.
Oh, I'd
Beautiful
take a
ballpark.
private jet and parachute in.
Okay, what do we have here? Just a few more topics. It's just
No one cares about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, screw Caleb.
There's
Williams.
this
He's
sham
Okay,
story by a guy trying to sell his book. Oh, Caleb Williams hates the Bears.
Well, let me say one thing about that. I think that this whole
Who
Wickersham
cares?
article, where just the very very quick briefing on it is it's Caleb and his father. It's mostly his father. I don't think Caleb actually said any of this. I think his father said this to Seth Wickersham in the book. That Caleb and him viewed the Bears as a place where quarterbacks go to die. They were trying to orchestrate Caleb to Minnesota to be with Kevin O'Connell, which glowing review of the Vikings as per usual. And then later on, I like this one here. After meeting with the Bears in their front office, Williams believed he could get it done with the Bears and decided not to, quote, nuke the city and agreed to play. Just
can you
wild.
imagine what would have happened in Chicago if he said, I'm not playing there and pulled an Eli? Because unlike the Eli Phillip Rivers thing, there wasn't even like another. I mean, I guess you can get Jaden Daniels or Drake May.
It would have been
felt like he was different.
I think it's funny. I don't think it matters.
It would have been an all-time funny moment as a Viking and for Vikings, Packers, Lions fans if he said, "I refuse to go there because that's where quarterbacks die."
I mean, I think the interesting part of the story is that actually, like, Caleb Williams was right.
Yeah, well, that is the thing.
Like, he's not wrong.
And then the whole thing about him not being taught how to watch film, which multiple quarterbacks have now been arguing online if coaches actually, like, the role that coaches play in helping quarterbacks study film, because Caleb said he just turned it on and had no direction. I think RG3 came out and said it's malpractice from the Bears. Kurt Warner said we have time in our schedule to watch the games, or to watch plays together on your own. You learn by yourself. So everyone's arguing about that. I think
the bigger thing is that your alleged quarterback in the future is like willing to watch film with you. What are you paying your offensive coordinator for if not to do exactly that?
Well, that's the question I have, and it's not quite clear to me, is if Caleb Williams was going up to Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron and saying, I'd like some pointers, and they just said, like, F off. I don't think that happened. If Caleb just was sitting there by himself saying, I have no idea what I'm doing, or I need help, but didn't say anything. Like, there's a lot of leaks in this story to me right now, and maybe more will come out when the book does, but it depends on how it was handled by Chicago, because everyone's just murdering Eberflus, Waldron, and the coaching staff. But if Caleb went up to them and they didn't help him, that's very different from if he just sat there and then complained about it.
Shane Waldron was a bust regardless.
Sure, and you're right, because Caleb was right that the Chicago, it was a disaster, and I think the Thanksgiving game was the icing on the cake of how they just had no control.
I need to look more into this to comment. I haven't seen much on this. I just think it's funny.
There's not enough where it's really justified in ripping people apart the way they have been. But the thing to me that I don't care. like I think anyone who's actually taking weight in this right now, it's like the Bears fans shouldn't even regard this. They are focused on Ben Johnson in the future. Yeah, it sounds like it was really bad last year in many ways, and we know it was bad in some. But this is to me, this is just what consistently plagues the Bears is, all right, we've turned the page. It's a fresh start. Here comes this bombshell. Like, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm not even talking about this the rest of the offseason. It's garbage. Who gives a shit?
Why would the Bears talk about it anyway? Well, if you're a Bears fan, all you should care about is what's coming next year.
Yeah. So I think that is what we should focus on as well. So we'll finish off here. The playoff format. We briefly discussed this earlier this offseason, but tomorrow
I'm calling it the sore loser rule.
Yeah, I think this is just so stupid.
The Lions have proposed reseeding the playoffs, so you'd still have 7 teams make it. You'd still have 4 division champions and 3 wildcard teams. But the way it would work is that the seeding in the playoffs among those 7 teams would be by the best record. So last year, the Vikings at 14-3 would have been the 3 seed instead of being the 5 seed.
They are also proposing a new tiebreaker to go along with this rule.
What's that?
If 2 teams have the same record, the divisional winner automatically gets the better seed, even if they lost head-to-head.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would. I actually no. I like head-to-head as the main tiebreaker.
So can you imagine you win head-to-head and there's a tie and they say, well, that team won their division, so you're going on the road in the playoffs, buddy?
That's almost like saying maybe we should just have winning the division mean something.
So with this, let's take the Packers, for example, last year. They're
11 wins.
They're competing against 3 teams. They come in 3rd place out of those 4 teams, and they get a home game in the playoffs. That's ridiculous.
The Packers last year.
They were the 4 seed, right? Let's see what the record.
No. Washington at 12, so they would have been the 5.
Okay.
But still, yes. In a scenario where Washington and Green Bay flip the game,
right?
Then the Vikings, Packers, and Lions would all host the game in the playoffs.
The Steelers play the Ravens this year, Week 18. The day that Week 18 Steelers-Ravens means nothing is the day that I stop watching the NFL.
Well, it might still mean something. Like
the AFC North on the line in the last week of the season, you can't change how it currently is. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. I think I like having... I'm saying it would still matter in terms of like the actual seeding of standings at the end of the day. But yes, as far as winning the division...
You're placed with 3 other teams. You're in a division. And you should be rewarded for winning it. It varies. Sometimes one's up, one's down. And then next year, one's up, one's down. It's like, Who cares? You win your division, you get a home
I'm
playoff.
curious about this, Paul. So the NBA, they did something I thought is sort of strange. They like made divisions not matter, but they also didn't get rid of divisions. Paul, you're a fan of the Knicks, right?
I'm a Knicks fan.
Do you know all the teams in the Knicks division?
There's 5.
Yeah, what teams are in the Knicks division?
The Nets, the Sixers, the Celtics, and the Raptors.
So fair enough, you get it.
Yeah, all right.
Do you care at all when the Knicks set aside the Nets because you feel bad about that? Do you ever feel like, oh, it's a divisional matchup? I really care about this.
No,
I got a quirk of the schedule. They play teams in their division.
No, to the NBA, the division does not matter at all. I think that like when they're playing Boston,
in the NFL, in 15 years, the divisions don't matter at all.
When the Knicks are playing Boston, I'm not saying, oh, this is a divisional matchup. I'm saying it's the Celtics. Like let's go. It's the Nets, they're rivals. I could not give a crap about when they play the Raptors.
The Raptors or the 76ers.
Well, Sixers is fun, but that's that's the geography.
It's not because it's a division.
It's the geography of it.
That's New York, Philly. It's
like there are rivalries there. It's the same way that when the Knicks play the Lakers or the Warriors, you get excited. Like it's the NBA is more about the individual teams than it is that's what's great about football, and I think it works for the NBA.
I mean, that just
but I think you would lose that if you made divisions no longer matter in the NFL.
Now there is one thing though, Ziggy, with the NBA.
Yeah, I agree.
You do play your division teams more, and like there are effects of the division still. But I agree. I think it's very different for football. I like playing the Lions, Packers, and Bears twice, and it's fun having that little, that's our show, right? Like our biggest community is the NFC North because all these key teams care about the teams that they're playing.
But I love it last week of the season when division titles on the line.
Oh, you guys as well.
Yeah, where the winner gets the division, losers a wild card are out.
Like the Vikings-Lions game last year was all stakes.
Was for the one.
We knew functionally a playoff game in the regular season.
Yeah, we knew if we lost.
Are we going to be the 2 seed or the 3 seed?
Remember, we came on right before the game and we said the Vikings win this. I think they can win the Super Bowl, and if they lose, they'll probably be eliminated. I thought round 2.
Who was the?
I said round 1.
Yeah. Who was the 3 like a 3 seed last year? Tampa Bay.
The 3.
Rams.
No, who won the
Rams.
The Rams were the 4 because we played them.
So Tampa Bay.
The Rams, remember the Rams punted the last game of the season?
Yeah. So Tampa Bay was
and then I came out and was like, we're gonna get them for that crap, and we lost by 30 points.
So Tampa was the 3.
Yeah.
But like if I'm Tampa, I'm sitting back there, I'm saying, like in this proposed situation, that we are the champions of the teams we had to beat. And the Vikings came in second.
Yeah.
Like, record aside, division matters more. Like, it cannot be changed.
I mean, like it did.
I'm against
last year, and it was kind of funny how the Lions proposed it when the Vikings were the ones who got screwed.
Because they're worried about going in third in division next year because they know that they're frauds.
Because they know the boys are coming.
Right?
Like last season, I will say it sucked winning 14 games. And the division winners, Bucks had 10, Rams had 10. Like it felt like we were ripped off, but also that's just how it goes. Like Jack said,
I've been.
We had a chance.
I've been there
because of the way division. You always have a chance to win your division. If you win the head-to-head matchups, you'll almost always win.
We had 13 wins. Went on the road to an 8-8 Broncos team, and Tim Tebow beat us. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Stop crying, win the game.
Oh, yeah,
is that fair? All right, we'll wrap it up there. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I actually thought that was a very fun show. We kind of went all over the place, but I enjoyed all the topics. It's
the off season. That's what we do.
Yeah, I enjoyed those topics. So let us know in the comment section again what you would like us to talk about. I think next show we could do another game because we need to rebound from that.
I mean, we need producer Zach back, but I think we should do the draft I've been pulling for months.
Oh, the doctor draft?
Don't spoil it.
Well, I'm trying to draw interest. It's intriguing.
I would 1,000% be down for that.
The doc draft.
The doctor draft would be interesting. There are
more docs than you think.
Oh, Dr. Seuss, Dr. Doolittle.
A lot of docs. All right, I'm in for the doctor draft. Yeah, we just need to get Zach over here.
Dr. Evil.
We need a rebound from the stadium disaster. I mean,
that might be the worst game we've ever done in the history.
Well, it depends how you view it because we got a lot of engagement from it.
I loved the game.
I thought it was great.
I thought I had a great pick. I thought you guys were on subpar.
Zach was a disaster.
Yeah, he was the worst.
We can all agree on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been down there. I enjoy. What the hell's the name of the stadium?
Hard Rock.
Yeah, I enjoy Hard Rock. Man, that Notre Dame Penn State game was
great.
probably in the top 3 games I've been to live. Maybe top 3, probably top 5. But yeah, no, it's not on the Mount Rushmore of stadiums. All right, we'll wrap it up here. We'll see you guys on Thursday with another episode. Bye.